back to our wine channel, the VVB. We still have Roberto Cioaca here, and we still talk about Romanian wines, and we have more Feteasca Neagra grape.
Exactly.
And but before talking about these wines, the other day I was actually having dinner with the Hong Kong Wine Society bunch, and I was actually very happy because I think I've converted some of them now. One of the big guys actually came to me. He told me, Kevin, I think you have a point now. There's no point buying all those very expensive wines that I used to buy. Why don't we just get more exotic wine, something different?
Something different. This is exactly what my idea about Romanian wines and Eastern European wines. They're different. They are lucky to have all those indigenous grapes in Romania, in Bulgaria, in Georgia, in Hungary, all over the place. And this is what they should emphasize on. The fact that the grapes are different, the wines are different, they're unique, and they come with a story and a history. And why not? The quality is there. Prices are value for money, I think, very good.
But do you think it's a problem when a lot of wine critics out there, or a lot of the wine media out there, okay, they're used to the French style, the Italian style, but they're not used to these, Eastern European wines or the grapes, so they try to judge them in the same category.
The one who started doing something first about Eastern European wines and Romanian in particular was actually Jancis Robinson. And she started scoring the wines,
Romanian wine, yeah?
Mentioned them first time, which was already very good. And then other critics went there. The producers submitted samples to them, and they start getting scores. They are probably not the top, but they are present. They are go-to competitions. What we're tasting today, actually, there are a few silver decanter wines, because the quality is there. Wines are already more known than they used to be. So I think they are on the right path.
Okay, yeah. So it will still take some time for the...
It will take some time because people are more, a bit conservative in the way they are, and with wines not being very accessible from a financial point of view, they want to go for something which is sure. It was recommended, it was known, it has a sales history.
So do you think for Romanian wine industry, it will be better for them to try to export more, even though they sell everything now already, but should they drive for more export sales just to be present on the international market?
They are present, actually. There are a few traditional markets. The most important market for Romanian wines actually is Germany, which is a traditional market.
Right.
United States is a big market for Romania. Canada is, I don't know why, but it's a big
Is it because of the Romanian diaspora?
There are not that many Romanians in Canada. In the States, there are quite a few. In Germany, quite a few. But those were...
Not France.
Those are traditional export markets for Romania. I think what they're lacking is a governmental program like Georgia had and still has.
Right.
So the backup from the government with substantial finance behind it in order to promote it on the international
Because Georgia,
market.
I think they're very smart. I mean, they hire a master of wine for Asia to represent them. They have a master of wine to represent them in the USA. I think they're pretty
It's funny
smart.
you mentioned that. Yeah. I had a discussion with a Romanian producer a few months ago who was asking me, do you think my wines could have a place in Hong Kong? And I said, unfortunately, I don't think so. Because you're using those international varietals, which are quite known to the locals. And you are going to compete with some very well-made, cheap Chilean wines.
Right.
And you don't stand a chance.
And you still have South Africa, you have Australia, you have everybody, right?
Exactly. So I said to him, you need this kind of government program that Georgia had. They started selling wines very cheap at the beginning. We know what kind of prices.
Yeah.
And
we've actually been talking about that just now, yes.
So they were selling very cheap, but quality improved year by year. And these days, they can afford to sell 5 times, 10 times, maybe some wines more expensive than 10 years
before.
ago.
Yes.
Exactly. And he said, and are they that good? I said, they're exceptional, actually. Some of them, they really are exceptional, some of the Georgian wines. So this is what you should think about, a long-term plan, not trying to burn stages. You cannot have a huge market tomorrow morning, because it doesn't work like that.
But
Somebody has to
it's
spend.
hardly a forte of the Romanian culture.
Everybody wants, to have a profit as soon as possible. It doesn't work like that. In the wine business, you have to be, first of all, honest.
Yeah.
And to think gaining recognition and popularity in time. It doesn't work otherwise. You have to taste wines non-stop. You have to have tasting sessions. You have to have wines open in restaurants and everywhere for people to understand that actually, not that it's only different, but it's good. Right?
So let us try.
Let's see.
The Feteasca Neagra from Princiar.
Yeah.
Special Reserve. This is 2018.
2018.
So this is also a CMD. There's a DOC CMD.
CMD, like I said before, it's cules la maturitate deplină, which means at full ripeness.
Collected at full ripeness.
Yes,
basically.
harvested at full
Harvested.
yes.
Yeah. Collected. Yeah. It's
We're talking French all the time. Yeah.
No, on the nose of this wine, I was quite impressed because it's actually quite complex on the nose. You can feel the fruit coming through. There's some smokiness to it, and then on the palate, it's very smooth.
Spicy.
It's spicy and smooth.
Spicy but smooth. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's not very tannic, huh?
It's not.
But if
Tannins are soft.
But the Feteasca Neagra grape could be quite tannic, right?
Feteasca Neagra is a tannic grape. Usually it's high tannic, high acidity. The wines made out of Feteasca have this ripe fruit character. Plum, like I was saying before. Dark cherry, sour cherry, something like that.
It's actually a bit similar to a Saperavi, huh? It reminds me of Saperavi sometimes.
I understand why you're saying that.
Because of
I'm
the
familiar
sour
with
cherry.
Saperavi. Yeah, exactly.
And the funny feature of this Feteasca Neagra grape, I find, is that it gives you 2 different levels of sensation. So basically, on the palate, and then when it's on the palate, you have one feeling, and then towards the end, it's another feeling. It's like a roller coaster ride on your palate.
It's like a journey. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But this is complexity, right?
That's why I love Feteasca Neagra grape.
It's a very versatile grape. I like it very, very much, and I think I was right when Jancis Robinson's assistant a few years ago asked me when I was in Switzerland to give some references about grapes, because I was sort of the authority over there in terms of Romanian wines, and I said, future is this. For the Romanian wines, the future lies in Feteasca Neagra.
Do you know, actually, in the U.S. and New York State, I think there's some plantings of some Feteasca.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So
but I think it's more the Babayasca.
Babasca. That it's another local grape. It's a completely different character.
There's a
grape.
famous winery in the U.S. in New York called McGregor. I think they have some of that.
I would look for it.
They have a black Russian blend.
Okay.
It's half Saperavi, half Babayasca.
I would be very curious to look for it.
But getting back to Feteasca Neagra, because Feteasca Neagra is another local grape, but it's actually a more elegant version of the Feteasca Neagra.
It's a lighter version. Yes. Yeah.
But the Feteasca Neagra is all about power. It's the power.
Babasca is used for wines which you are supposed to drink sooner. Feteasca ages very, very well. You remember we tasted some older vintages from a different producer, and they age very, very well.
Oh, I still have some 2007 or 2008 Hyperion.
Lucky you. I don't have anything
I
left.
have 2-3 bottles left.
I have nothing left. They're beautiful wines, aren't they?
They're still in my cellar.
Yep.
So we have to score this wine. And I think this wine is it's not as representative of the grape as the
previous
two.
ones. Yes.
Because this one has more winemaking to it, and but then it's sort of stuck in the middle. So you either go, a very upmarket with more oak and with more winemaking, or you do it very simple.
I understand what you mean. I think the wine is more structured than the others, but the others are more Feteasca, actually.
Yeah.
They are more typical of the grape
Of
that
the
they're
grape,
made
yeah,
of. Yes. Yeah.
But it's a good wine still, huh? But I would say, it's drinkable, perfectly drinkable. It's, I would say B minus.
Probably something like that.
It doesn't stand out too much, but it's okay. It's nice. It's nice to drink. So what food would you pair this with? Any grilled meat or?
Yes, traditionally yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think grill, not things with sauce, not meat in the sauce. I would say barbecue was going to be something that to do justice to the wine. Yeah.
But I'm quite impressed with how silky, how smooth this wine is. I mean, because usually Feteasca Neagra, there's a bit of tannin to it.
I think
a bit
it's
of roughness,
it's winemaking.
That's why I said it's the winemaking.
Yeah, it's winemaking that makes them more elegant, right?
So let's move on to
try
the top of the range. Well, at least for
what we are tasting.
What we are tasting today. Valahorum, 2017, Feteasca Neagra. So I think there must be some oak.
I would imagine, yes.
Oh, it says French oak, right?
I didn't even read the label.
Well, it says in Romanian.
We're going to find out immediately anyway. Thank you.
And still, it's still that label from, it's golden. The white version of
this
it is
golden,
silver.
the other one was silver, yeah.
Yeah, so it's easy to recognize. It looks good. I think 14.5% alcohol, actually quite high in alcohol.
Quite high, but I'm actually quite convinced that you're not going to feel the alcohol.
Well,
usually
immediately on the nose, yes, there's oak.
There is oak, but it's not. First of all, it's not French oak, and second, I think
it says French.
If it is French, it has to be something which is a second or third passage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the producers they're too loaded sometimes these days, so they use a lot of new oak.
It was a very natural move for Romanian winemakers 20 years ago to switch from what they were producing for the Eastern market to New World. And the benchmark for them, New World, was American,
Australia or America, Napa.
And therefore Napa, and then heavily oaked wine.
But then the previous winery that you worked with was that Feteasca Neagra had some American oak, right? I remember.
I think it was American and Hungarian oak.
And that was a very strange choice.
It was the winemaker's choice. So, but the wine is beautiful.
I think I remember talking to the winemaker, and he told me, "Oh, because we think there's some similarities between Feteasca Neagra and Tempranillo, so we want to try the Tempranillo way and use American oak."
It's a point.
So we make it like a Rioja.
It's going to be difficult to make a Rioja in Romania, but yes, I understand their point of view.
But this one it's not American oak. You don't get that coconuts oil flavor.
They didn't want to do that. The wine, it has the character nose. It has the spiciness. It has the.
It's actually very old world.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can feel the alcohol. You can feel it. This time, you can really feel it.
The sour cherry, and it's also like it's very present on the nose.
Wow. Wow. On the palate, it's very complex. You get different layers of many different things coming at you all at the same time. But it's not like very chaotic. It's you get first you get some you can feel the oakiness, some creaminess, and then you can feel the body, the structure of the wine, and then there's some minerality. There's a lot of spices. It's very spicy. The grape is actually very spicy, and then towards the end you get the mineral kick to at the back.
I'm really surprised about the wine. It's much better than I was even hoping.
And it's very smooth.
Yeah. It's elegant, but it has such a complexity. It has a big structure. Tannins are very polished and soft. You have the sour cherry character. You have the plum character. There's some spiciness in it, which is also specific to the grape,
region,
which is elegant.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful wine.
That's
really
beautiful. I love it.
Beautiful.
Wow. And you know, it's. I think is it like very top of the range, or it's just
actually
for this winery?
For the winery, it's towards the iconic wines. But I would say high end of their range.
But not crazy prices.
Not crazy, definitely not. No, it's a very big difference in between what you call high range in the United States and what you call,
of course, in Romania.
In Romania, yeah.
In terms of spending power, you can guess. But
yeah,
there are some quite expensive Romanian wines these days as well. Very high end.
There are that is due to the size of the companies. So you're talking about really boutique wineries. With wines made in batches of 1,000 bottles.
Yeah.
I mean,
if I can name, I can name some names. I mean, like Flamboyant. It's quite expensive, but it's quite high end. It's good wine, but
there are a lot. Yeah. There is a very good producer of Merlot in Romania that I like. Quantities that they make, they are so small.
Minuscule.
He said it's not worth even talking about it. So yes,
but that's a problem in Romania because the local market is very vibrant and they drink most of their own wine. So it's not easy for us to get the best wines from Romania.
People want the winemakers and the vineyard owners. They want to be on the local market because they want their wines to be represented in the market. They want to be in the best restaurants. They want people to have them at home and share them with their friends because we're Latin, so we invite at home a lot. We like to do that very much. Export, like we were talking before, it's a tricky thing to do. It requires investment. Most of those new producers are very young and they lack means. So for them, exporting it's a burden that they don't want to carry yet.
Yes, because in order to export, actually in Eastern Europe, it's actually quite a complicated process. You gotta go through the lab, and then you gotta go through the customs.
Our problem would be, from my point of view,
you have to pay for everything.
Would be not that. Would be logistics.
Okay, logistics is also a big problem.
That is a big problem. I'm working with 95% of my wines are Italian. Easy to know, easy to do. There are a number of ships leaving Genova every week, so it's easy. When I bring my wines from Romania, they will have to do a sort of put them together with some Bulgarian wines that are going to. It's complicated, really complicated.
That's our daily struggle. That's our daily struggle.
Yeah. The wine travels a little bit. That's the struggle.
Because I've done importation. I've imported Georgian wine.
Yes.
That's our daily struggle.
You're facing the same
problem. Yeah.
Getting back to this.
Getting back to this wine, it's so spicy. I mean, the more I drink, the more I feel that it's a very spicy wine. The spices keep coming to get you. You feel that spiciness on your tongue, and it's like, wow.
You know what I would also do to this? I would serve it a bit cooler. This is very good serving temperature, but I would serve it actually
slightly cooler so the alcohol wouldn't come out.
Exactly, yeah.
Because right now with this temperature, you can feel the alcohol.
You can feel the alcohol.
But then it's very spicy. But if you chill the wine a little bit, maybe the spiciness would go down. But this wine,
this is a beautiful Feteasca Neagra.
I mean,
really
you have to pair it with a big chunk of meat. I'm sorry, it is a big chunk of meat.
It deserves a big chunk of meat, right?
Yeah. And with a lot of spices. Lamb. Yes, lamb.
Why not? Why not?
Roast lamb leg.
Exactly.
I will go with it. Yeah, with a lot of cumin, with a lot of spices, right? Wow. I'm very impressed with this wine.
Me too.
Okay, if I had to give this a score, A, for sure.
For sure.
I actually want I want a case of this now.
Unfortunately, it's not possible.
I want it now.
We're going to have some, but it's going to be a matter of time.
It's actually one of the best Romanian wines I've tried. I mean, I tried some really expensive high-end Romanian wines, including Hyperion or those high-end Romanian wines, but I think this one stands out.
It does.
Wow.
It does. It's a very well-made wine.
Yes, I want more of that.
Congratulations to the enologist Daniel Dornanu. Great job.
Wow.
Really great job.
So I think that's it for today, for our Romanian episode. So hopefully we'll get more Romanian wines in the Asian market.
Let's hope so.
So you know, you got a lot of work to do.
I think I still have a lot of work to do. Yes.
All right. So
thank you very much for the invitation.
Yeah. Thank you, Roberto, for being on to our program.
Thank you,
and
guys.
we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.